Welcome to our study called For Kingship Belongs to the Lord. We're looking at Genesis chapter 14 in this study. And back in Genesis 12, we saw that the call of God on the life of Abram. Now, he was just a normal man living in Ur until God invaded his life. God sent him into the land of Canaan, away from his family, his homeland, and all that was familiar with him. Then came the famine, and Abram chose to sojourn in Egypt. Thinking that his life would be in danger because of his wife, he tells her just to say that she was his sister. Now, her beauty is recognized by the princes of the land, and the Pharaoh brings her into the house. Then God brought a plague upon Pharaoh's house because Sarai was in his household. And realizing what's going on, Pharaoh sends Abram and his family packing. After that unfortunate scene, we saw another, this time in the life of Lot. The herdsmen of Abram and Lot began to fight amongst each other. The land was not able to support both of them. And so Abram tells Lot to separate himself from him. Now, Lot chooses to move from Sodom, or towards Sodom, while Abram settled in the land of Canaan. And so that really sets the story now for Genesis chapter 14. Many of the stories we read in Genesis are about the choices humans make. God providentially brings about a crossroads, and those involved have to decide which way they're going to go. Will they follow God and choose goodness, or will they choose their own path or evil? That's always the question. Then we're often given the consequences of those decisions, as the choice that the people makes impacts their lives and the people around them too. Now back in chapter 13, we saw Lot make a decision. He leaves behind his uncle Abram and moves toward the city of Sodom. Moses didn't make any comment on the morality of that decision, which he often doesn't in his books. He doesn't make an outright condemnation of people. But he does record the aftermath of the decision, and we'll see that that was a bad decision because of what happens in our story in Genesis chapter 14 and the following with the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah. So he's making some bad choices. As we'll see, nothing really good came out of the fact that he went towards Sodom and chose to choose by sight and not by faith. Well, along with the consequences of Lot's choices, we get to see the character of Abram as well. He's a man growing in the knowledge of God. Remember, he's only been following God for about 10, 11 years now. So, about 10 years maybe. And so, he's fairly new at this. Abram is a man in whom the power of God is working. Abram is a man approved by God. We begin this chapter with a rather long section on a war in the Middle East. And that's what we'll look at next time as we look at the setting of this story, which really is a battle between kings, tribal kings, in the area of the Middle East.